it's Austin here, and so this is something I've been wanting to do, and I thought I'd just make a video of me going through the process. So, what I have found in I don't know, the last, pardon me, got all these notifications going off. But what I've found over the last 6 or so years that I've been into the outdoors, at least in my adulthood, that I've been going by myself. I have found that oftentimes I go out and I get out into the woods, if it's on a hike or if I'm camping, and I get to wherever I'm going, and I find that all of a sudden there's something that I wanted to have that's in another bag that I had set up for another outing, or that I had put away for another purpose, and and then when I get back, I take it out of whatever it was in and move it to where I wanted it, and then so it's all, a long story short, it's been this kind of cat and mouse game of gear that gets lost, or gear that's not where I want it when I need it. And so what I've wanted to do for a really long time is set up some kind of like possibles pouch, right? And I like bushcraft. I like the idea of bushcraft. I really can't say that I'm highly skilled at Ray Mears style, or what's his name, Dave Canterbury style bushcraft, but I like to go out into the woods and play around. And so I've wanted to set up something that will contain some key things that never change, that always stay in the same bag, and that if I want to either just go out into the woods for an afternoon, I can just take the bag. If I want to go into the woods for a week, I can take and throw this bag in a backpack and have those key basic needs always there all the time, and know that they're going to stay compartmentalized. So there are definitely things that I will say that I want to add to this, but these are the things that I have right now that I don't have to buy, that I've already spent money on. And I'm just going to kind of walk through with you my thought process of what I'm going to put in the bag, actually picking the bag, and so on. So let's start with picking out a bag. So up here in the top, I have 3 options. This here is a Mountain Smith. I don't know if it has the name of the particular model. Is it on the tag, maybe? It's not. But it's a large Mountain Smith fanny pack, or hip bag. It's a Kinetic 2, for those curious. And I actually bought this when I rode motorcycles, and I would just keep it around my waist, as I'd keep my ID in it and all that, my wallet, my phone, when I was riding motorcycle. So I've used that for camp, or for just short afternoon hikes, and I really like that. I have this. This is I think it's Swiss. I just picked a couple of these up. They're like $4 a piece, and they're these. I thought that they were like ammo pouch size, but these are like huge set of dual pocket belt pouches. And I've put these on my belt, and they go from hip to hip across the back. And so if you wanted a serious piece of kit, this would be a really good one to have. And I'm also just kind of noticing in looking at these that there's just this seam along the back, and if I wanted, I maybe could just cut along that rib and have one of these pouches. So maybe that's an option too. Kind of OD green is always a popular sort of bushcrafty color. I like bushcraft. I like OD green. It's kind of a fun color. Matches everything, right? And then I have this. This is like really traditional leather possibles pouch with, all hand stitched, brass hardware, brass snaps, rivet construction in a couple of places. But I mean, this is really traditional. Just, a button or a snap. I don't even know what you'd call this. Kind of like I don't know. But very traditional construction, very traditional style. I spent a lot of money on this a couple of years ago. And I really haven't gotten the use out of it that I would like. But I have this too. So, I mean, for the sake of the traditional, I really want to use this. This is too big. As it is, I'm glad I didn't throw down a lot of money for these. They were, new old stock, surplus, unissued kind of thing. And I mean, I'll definitely keep them in mind, keep them in my gear bin for hunting season maybe. But I'm going to put that in the no pile. This is just, I feel like this is really bulletproof. Mountainsmith makes some really good gear, really good, well constructed. It's made in Vietnam. Vietnam is, if you have to make textile goods somewhere, it's probably my preferred overseas textile manufacturer. Multiple compartments. I don't know. The practical side of me is telling me to go with this. And the traditional side of me is telling me to go with this. But I am going to go with the Mountainsmith. Mostly because I just like using what I know at the end of the day works. Perhaps I'll find a use for this in some traditional kit, or I don't know, but we'll always keep that in mind. So now that I've got the bag figured out, I want to have a nice multi-tool to keep in the kit. So I have this here. This is the Gerber, I forget. I think it's their 600 series. But I got this from Camping and Survival in their used section. And this one is really nice because it has the carbide cutters in it. And like new, these things are like $60. And I picked this up for like 30 something. And I'm pretty sure that it was unissued. Or if it was issued, somebody got it confiscated at the airport and never used it. When I was in the Air Force, I knew a lot of guys that when they would go on deployment, they'd have this in their bag, in their backpack, which would be their carry-on, and while leaving the States, they'd get these confiscated. So it was probably something similar along those lines. So I like the Gerber, pretty bulletproof, pretty proven. I have the Victorinox Swiss Champ, and so this is like the kind of the top of the range. Victorinox has all of the accoutrements, and this is a Victorinox, but I don't remember what the model of this is, to be quite honest. But this is a pretty plain. It's bottle opener, can opener, large locking blade, um, cork screw, and an awl. So, if all I was going into the woods with was what was in this bag, and I had to get stuck overnight somewhere, which is, it's probably really the only sort of realistic situation where you go, the weather gets bad, you have to stay someplace for a night. Um, what would I be comfortable with? I don't feel like I need this because I want to put another sort of just a single bladed knife in there. But if I wanted something for the tools, the thing for me is I don't want to have to get another one of these. But for me, these are like my main pliers. I'll keep these around for working on projects at the house. And these are kind of always at my desk. But these, I don't know, does that warrant me buying a second one of these? Would I feel comfortable with only having these little sort of nano pliers? It's a difficult question to ask and to answer. I feel like for the sake of it, I would rather go with the Gerber. So maybe in the next couple of paychecks, I'll have to throw down the money and buy a second one of these. But I'm going to keep this and put these off to the side in the discard pile. So this is just something that's going to go in the bag. This is my Spot GPS messenger. I need to reactivate this. Now I just want to have a blade that I can depend on apart from the multi-tool. So this is the new Mora Eldris, and I like the Mora Eldris a lot. And I really think I'm leaning towards this because I want to carry neck knives in public, but this is just ugly to carry in public. That I've considered getting a leather neck sheath for this, but the ones that I've seen that are made are like as much as the knife, and I just can't justify it for a Mora. And it's just ugly to wear out and about. This is a Bark River Mini Canadian, I think. I don't remember. I think it's a Mini Canadian. But in 154 cm. So, it's kind of the same, but the thing is if I'm going to carry something, I really like the girthiness, the girth and just good grip that you get on the handle. This I don't know if I would want to have if I was in cold hands or something. This is it's pretty small handle for my liking. Now there's also the Opinel, sort of bulletproof for general tasks. But I'm going to go with the Eldris. This is a knife that I like, a knife that I would depend on, something that I thought I was going to carry in daily, and something that I will be happy to know that I have in my pouch. So that's what I'm going to go with. This is something I'm just going to throw in there. This is a Mingdu pry bar. Kind of, will be nice to have in a pairing with the multi-tool. Very tool I use a lot. One I think I might buy another one of. And then I'm also going to keep just this little bit of cord. everybody's always making these crazy sort of um, dealio, like ways to store paracord, and this is not paracord. I don't even know what the proper description of this cord is, but it's a small, kind of like a almost like a mason line, but it's very very high tensile strength. I would say it's probably, I mean, if I if I if I wrap it around both my hands and pull, it's not breaking under my max effort. And if I had to lash some sticks together for the night for a little shelter, this would be something that I would be happy to have and doesn't take up a whole lot of room. So that's I'm gonna put in there. This is something I'm gonna put in there. This is sort of a little kuksa that I carved, and while it's not perhaps the most rugged and perhaps I couldn't boil water in it or something, it's something that I want to have in there for the sake of the traditional nature of it. So let me check the time. This camera likes to sneak up on me. All right. So there's the good old flick your bic, and then there's also, this is a County Com peanut lighter with a titanium. And I honestly don't know which one I would prefer. I feel like for the sake of the shelf life and the sake of not wanting to be stuck with something where all the fuel has evaporated, or if this button gets pressed down in the bag and all the fuel goes, I would rather have this. So I'm gonna go with the County Com. I think it's the XL peanut lighter. This is just gonna go in there. This is a little, very small Maglite LED AAA light, and I have learned to love Maglites. Maglite, the 2 AAA LED flashlight is what I carry on a regular basis. So, and then for ferro rods, I don't know. I mean, if this is going to be something like a piece of kit that I base, everything else on, I feel like I would want this to be my primary. I mean, this is a huge ferro rod, and light my fires are nice and all, but this actually isn't a light my fire. I think this is a knockoff. But anyway, this is a light my fire striker, but I don't think that this is an authentic light my fire steel. But for the sake of depending on it, I would rather go with one of these. And if you want a good place for these, you can buy them on eBay. And I got 2 of these for like $12. They're great. So, and I just drilled the hole in them. Be careful, that can be kind of dangerous. So let's put all this in here. So let's put the multi-tool right up in the front. And then I'm going to keep my fire stuff kind of in this, all my little trinkets that I don't necessarily need up front, or that I don't want to get lost in the bottom of this, in this sort of little pouch here, or this other pocket. I'll also put the pry bar in there, so that way we have plenty of room for whatever is left. So we'll put this in the big pocket. This this in the big pocket. And I'll get a little piece of Gorilla Tape, just kind of keep that tucked in there so I don't have to deal with it unraveling all the time. But there's a little kind of lock on this, and I'm just gonna, so that doesn't get lost and I can kind of fish for it easily. So I have a lot of room in there, and I wanted to see if I was gonna have room in here, because do I want to put a full size first aid kit in this? And I don't. I really, honestly, I don't. I will build a smaller first aid kit for this, but most of the time I have first aid kits in all of my bigger bags, and so that's what I'm gonna use, is my bigger bags. And what I would actually maybe rather have is a poncho, and I just got this Snug Pack poncho, and I'm gonna see if this fits in here in a way that is not so obtuse. And I have a feeling that that's not necessarily gonna be the case. But if this sets in the bottom of this nicely, you know what? It actually does. It's right there, and I still have plenty of room for the other things. But, you know, I don't have to worry about, if I want to go out and not have to worry about bringing a rain jacket with me, I don't have to, because I can know that I will have the security of having that poncho in the back. And, you know, kind of save the day when I'm out. So, and it's not overly heavy. It's a little heavy, but I mean, it's all the stuff that I want to have in the woods. And I will go ahead and build a smaller first aid kit for this, because I feel like I would feel vulnerable to not have something with me. But this has been kind of a fun little project for me, something I've been wanting to do for a good little while. And thanks for coming along. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And I will kind of show you any updates that I do to this in the future. So thanks for watching.